From the Creator's perspective, looking down into the world, the Creator can see into the hearts and minds of every living thing. But when we look into the hearts and minds of every living thing as the Creator sees it, we see a lot. We see a world that's inflicted by corruption, violence, and crime. We see a world inflicted by hunger, famine, sickness, and disease. We see great prejudice in gender, race, and creed. Over time, the world has been declining in its moral value. There have been so many wars all around the world throughout time. And those wars have been useless killing, innocent people affected by man trying to dominate man to his injury. Children, families, all affected by the great devastation that is war. In this world, those wars have been fought over senseless things, trying to gain some kind of monetary value, or trying to prove a religious point. Every time a new power has been stationed, they've always tried to prove themselves through the act of war. If you go back throughout history, you'll see exactly what I mean. They're always trying to get man to see what they want them to see. This world greatly programmed by their great agenda. Every time they want something new promoted, they'll make sure everything on television is full of subliminals and also content that promotes what it is that they're trying to get people to do or think or be. The music, the media, television, everything is controlled. People follow blindly along, trying to keep up with the crowd, as people have always sought to find some kind of acceptance in the world around them, to fit in or to belong, to feel just as important, even if only for a moment. And this world has played upon that, fueling ego and competition for many centuries. It's happening all around us today as we see great spiritual movements rise up, and we see them go against one another as each side has only negative things to say about the other. We see great misconceptions and deceit involved in things meant to be spiritual. Even the government misleads. The government lies to their people, withholds the truth, and they work only merely for themselves and their own goals. Indeed, this is a world that is greatly suffering. This world is gradually coming to a place that it will never come back from. As they decrease morals and values and virtues, as they promote more sinful things, we tend to ask ourselves what defines something as sinful. Who is right or wrong? And who is the judge to say? When we look at the word enlightenment, enlightenment is expressing the knowledge of the balance of both sides of the world, dark and light, male and female, bringing it all together to walk a middle path of understanding. But yet, no one walks the middle path of understanding. If they did, the world will have been greatly changed already. So messengers come every now and so often to teach mankind, to show them that love is the number one key, the love of oneself naturally and innocently, and the love for one another unconditionally. Messengers bring great wisdom of how to reconnect to the divine, to reach out and be whole again. But every time a messenger has come, their message has been taken from them, they were made a martyr, and then their message is greatly distorted to fit the great agendas of this world. Now is a day and age where many false prophets were said to come, and then it makes us wonder why. With more population, sending just one messenger wouldn't be good enough anymore. And so a great wave of messengers was scheduled to come here. And those who control the world around you knew this. And so they set up their false prophets, a great wave of deception, so that when those messengers would come, no one would be able to find them amongst the great sea of falsehood. They would lace truth in with many lies, so that people would hear that little bit of truth and have it make sense, playing on everyone's vulnerabilities, knowing that people feel so outcast no matter who they are, knowing that everyone has that great need to be loved. And so they use that to capture you in your most sincere moments. Then they tell you something that makes sense, and then you're theirs. Then they start to fill up the rest of the way of the teachings with great lies. People start to get lost in those lies, getting lost in themselves, and the world becomes even worse. There's so much jealousy, envy, competition, and deceit. So looking at things through the human perspective as the Creator looks down and hears many cries for help, we have to stop and ask ourselves, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to make things better? Everyone is in a great competition to be the world's greatest spiritual teacher, when instead they should be joining together with their great levels of wisdom, no matter what level that is, to teach the people and lead the way. If they separate us, they win, because we're weak as individuals, but together we stand united and strong. But the perspective of the Creator is this: all things are a lesson. And it's not planet Earth that's ugly, as many people say that this planet is disappointing and a terrible, traumatic, and devastating experience to have. It's not the planet's fault. Looking down from the perspective of the Creator, we see many beautiful, wondrous things. Everything was made intricately and specifically for the grand design. Many out there in science would have you believe that all of this has happened by chance, that it all just created itself. But looking at the beauty and the intelligence that went into creation, we know that's not true. Some believe that extraterrestrials created this planet. Some believe it's a computer simulation. And in older spiritual beliefs, people believe in the old man in the sky who created supernaturally this earth. But regardless of what version you believe, it all points back to the same truth. And what that truth is that somebody did create it. It was made in sacred geometry. In that sacred geometry were codes and frequencies. And those frequencies are math. They're wavelengths of vibrations with their own numbers and digits, carrying this wonderful sound or vibration of light. And that vibration of light tells us something. Just like your eyes do not perceive real images but only light that travel to the brain as the brain transmutes that light into what you're meant to see. It's the same out there in creation. Everything was scientifically and perfectly made through the vibrations of consciousness through our source. So who is the creator? We know that the light branched forth through the infinite universe. We know that it became particles of all different sizes and vibrations, from the alpha to the omega, to the macro to the micro. It's omnipotent and omnipresent. It exists from the biggest to the smallest, and that biggest is beyond human comprehension. Each and every particle of light is a soul, a particle of intelligence from that primal force of all life in the universe. All of us together are connected as we are a part of that infinite light. And we connect to the earth, and the earth connects to something greater, and so on and so forth, until that original source is once again reached. If we could just let go of ego and live in this planet as beautiful as it really truly is in nature, to step back from the mundane world and the daily routine of things, we'd be able to see something so epically wonderful. And what that is the Creator. The Creator living within each and every one of us. The Creator's energy coming together as the angels who create this planet as a whole, that entire soul of the earth. If we could just step outside of ego and society and see this beautiful, beautiful globe, we'd be able to learn something so strong, and that would reach towards awakening back to the connection that each and every one of you have with the one that made heaven and earth. The Creator is loving, unconditionally loving. There is no hate. There is no jealousy. There is no competition. The Creator is goodness, all around service to others, as it knows that we're all a part of that existence. What affects one affects us all. The Creator is compassion, being able to see things from all different perspectives and knowing and understanding people on their own levels and through their own history and past. The Creator is merciful and forgiving, because knowing what each person has been through as a soul, how it's hurt them and their reactions, how can one be blamed, especially in a world that's led them to be so? The Creator is awesome, the mad scientist, but yet a loving entity that wraps all around us and within The Creator is serious in nature, but with a vivid imagination that paints the worlds and realities all around us. In the perspective of the Creator, everything is perfect and as it should be. But when the Creator looks down into this world and sees all that the humans see and wish to be rid of, all of that violence, crime, and corruption, all of the hunger, famine, sickness, and disease, all of the prejudice and war, then the Creator wants what we all want, which is change. And there still are many of us out there that long for change and to rid this beautiful planet of all of the ugliness that I've mentioned. But yet there are still some out there that would like it to stay the same. Those who wish to monopolize off of human beings, to build their kingdoms off the backs of every man, woman, and even child that grows up. To bring in commercialism and greed as people struggle to make ends meet, and while they do, they work and miss out on so much experience in life due to having to work a routine and repetitive job. They get to live a wonderful, wealthy life, and then to keep everyone in the dark so that nothing changes. But we have the chance to make that change, to be love, to show love, and to promote love once again. But it starts with knowing the truth. Not just the truth that you've known all this time, not the truth as you know it, not the truth that they try to teach you, because everything in this world is a part of their agenda. But to know the truth as the Creator knows it, as the angels who work under the Creator know it, and to stop refusing that there is an entity greater than yourself out there, because there is particles of all different sizes. And when you pan out into the universe, compared to most things, Earth itself is just a tiny little blue speck. You are tiny, minuscule, and there are beautiful sources of light much bigger than the tiny little soul, that fragment of light you have living within you. It's time to respect that again, and to fight for every essence of light that belongs to that great entity here on planet Earth. But it starts with you, it starts with me, and it starts with all of us together. I invite you to the study of truth. In truthology, you can learn and grow. You can understand things at a higher level, reach the awakening you've longed for, and to finally be able to have in your heart and soul the tools of wisdom and knowledge to fight back. To fight for yourself as a soul entrapped here, and to fight for the soul of the earth, which is still very much living and still very beautiful. From the perspective of the Creator, truth and love are the keys, and those keys are offered to you now. Will you take them?